Welcome back, boys. Week 10 recap coming your way. We had the trade deadline this week. Figured we go through where are the transactions? Oh, here they are. Figured we go through the trades that took place, and both happened with Cleveland Steamers, and we got Cleveland Steamers owner Nick here with us. So, Nick, welcome back this week, and why don't you give us a run through of these trades you made?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so going through both these trades, so you gotta show both of them. Um, both these trades, one trade kind of led to the other. We've kind of been searching all year for a wide receiver one. In fantasy, it's not all about talent. A lot of times, it's about talent mixed with opportunity. The two receivers we drafted at the top of our draft this year that we gave long-term contracts to, that being Terry McLaurin and Deontay Johnson, we have faith. Both those guys can be a wide receiver one. It's just a matter of situation hasn't worked out quite to the or the way that we wanted it to. So we wanted to make a big move and go get a guy that can slide in there as a wide receiver one each and every week, and then we can kind of build the team weekly around that solidified piece. So we hit up Sticky Mistakes, who's kind of been going through a downturn this year, and Stephon Diggs on an expiring deal. This kind of just made sense. We were able to get a deal done with a first and a third round pick from Coop that we got through the James Robinson trade. And then after we kind of had that in place, Texas size 10 fours came knocking for Lenny. And you know how we feel about Lenny. We love Lenny. It was really, really tough to, send him out. But, we just thought that we told you, we said, hey, you're gonna have to wow us with the deal. And you definitely did. So we just felt the decision was right for the team currently and the team moving forward into the next couple of years here. And we got a hell of a piece back in AJ Dillon that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we were definitely happy that we got Leonard Fournette able to add to our running back room going forward. If we would have known the price that you were getting Diggs for, it might have changed things a little bit, but we're still happy with the trade around. However, we do have to question some of the actions around the league. But enough about that. Without further ado, let's get into the games that actually took place this week. And first up, we are very happy. We had another successful week on the field. Texas size 10 fours. We get a big time dub over PC Principal, 175 to 86. And Justin Fields is really looking like the quarterback that's going to come out of nowhere this year. He had 51 last week, so we had to put him in the starting lineup this week against the Leons. The Leons were feeling themselves with a big win over the Packers. The defense is going to let down. The Lions somehow snuck out a win, but Justin Fields is able to get 43 this week. So obviously we were very happy to see that. And then the middle of our core showed up and produced these four combined for 90 points between Foreman, Adams, Davis, and Kelsey. And then our specialist let us down a little bit, but that was all right. And then Lenny got hurt, was still able to contribute 10. It doesn't sound like he'll be out past the bye next week, so that's good to hear. We hope him a healthy and speedy recovery nonetheless. And yeah, it looks like 175 points following our toughest week of practice paid off for us. We'll stick with that game plan again this week. We have learned from the past not to get ahead of ourselves when we pull off these big week performances and get the Kiffin Award. So we will stay humble. We will keep our foot on the gas, and we have a big matchup against Pams next week because we have a real chance to put the division away.
Yeah, for PC Principal here, kind of a huge letdown week for them. They were sitting at 4-5 going into this week, really looking to get back to 500 and right in the middle of that playoff mix. And to only put up 86 points has got to be extremely disappointing for them. Looking down their team here, the running backs let them down this week. That was a big point of emphasis for them at the beginning of the season. The running backs not producing a whole lot, and it really wasn't great for them today. Tyreek and Daniel Jones were only players here that were able to hit double digits. Tyreek was able to squeak in for a touchdown. Daniel Jones was their leading scorer here with 22 points. Most weeks, I mean, that's not going to get it done. And obviously, we see scrolling down here, way too many single digits, just all across the board. Even the defense, Rams playing against Colt McCoy couldn't even get double digits. So just one of those weeks for PC Principal. We all have them. You just want to throw it out and just get to the next week. You know, they're going to have to come ready to play this next week, but this is one of those performances. Just throw it out and move on to the next week.
All right, moving on to our second game of the week. We had FaZe Cav getting the swipe award back to back. They are the first team to get 2 swipe awards this season, and they did so with a narrow victory, 112 to 109 over the Can Pams. Allen came into this one, rumors of elbow problems. We still don't really know what's up with that. He looked okay, not great. 2 interceptions, was still able to grind out 24 points, however. They would fall short to the Vikings, but still able to help his fantasy team get the win at least. And then St. Brown with 22 points as well. He's looked good when he has been healthy this year for the Lions, which is not, a common thing we say often on the show. And then some weak performances here towards the end of the lineup would keep them eligible for the Swiper Award this week. But they were able to get another win. They stay tied for first. They're currently in second on tiebreakers, tied for first in the league. They've now won 2 straight and 5 of 6. They stay red hot. We'll see how this team looks. They should be in the playoffs. We'll see how their season ends.
I don't know about you. I kind of just felt like the whole time the Can Pams were going to sneak this one out because that's just what they do, man. Sneaky little 100, cheeky little 115 point, 113 point wins for them. Yeah, I always kind of felt like they were going to sneak it out the whole time. Jimmy G on Sunday Night Football, 20 points. That's pretty decent day, I don't know if you're really expecting a whole lot else from Jimmy G on a week-to-week basis. So that was pretty solid for them. Dalvin Cook was incredible in that, 1 p.m. game, Bills, Vikings, one of the better games I've watched in my recent memory. But he was incredible, 120 yards, touchdown. He was electric that whole game. Next up, we want to go to Cooper Kupp here. We joke about Cooper Kupp a lot on this show. It's just receiver for the Can Pam seems like, the poster boy for that team. But he did get his ankle rolled up on, and it looked rather serious. So we do want to take the time here to wish him a speedy, healthy recovery. Hope he can get back on the field soon. I don't really know how the hell the Rams are going to play football without him because he's been their entire team this year. So I just wish him the best. And I know the Can Pams want to get him back as soon as possible as well. So wish the best for you, Cooper Kupp. Hope you get back on the field here soon. And then, kind of everybody else, just not incredible performances. Kittle, that was a huge disappointment on Sunday Night Football. You were really hoping for a little bit more from him. As the Can Pams, as they were, again, trying to really just squeak this one out. And also Daniel Carlson, again, another 2 points as this Raiders team that everybody thought would be, this high-powered offense, a lot of opportunities for this kicker. Daniel Carlson's one of the better kickers in the league. It's kind of been letting the Can Pams down a little bit down the stretch here. So definitely want to get that figured out, going down the final stretch of the season as they're sitting at 500 and need to start rattling off some wins here if they want to get back in the playoffs here.
Very well said. That will bring us to our third game. This one is always hostile, and it was very intense, down to the wire, sticky mistakes. They haven't been able to find wins often this year, but they were able to get it done this week, 131 to 125 over Glizz Mafia.
Yeah, so they were going into Monday Night Football with, I want to say, around right around 20 or a little less than 20% chance to win. Sticky mistakes here. I had Jalen Hurts going. Glizz Mafia had A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, and the Eagles defense. So pretty much just everybody else on that team. Eagles are sitting at 8-0 at that point, and you're just thinking, there's no way in hell that Glizz Mafia can lose this. But Jalen Hurts, able to do some Jalen Hurts things, sneaking himself in there for a touchdown, keeping that away from Miles Sanders, getting another 2 touchdowns. Did throw a pick there off A.J. Brown's hands. I didn't think that by any stretch of the imagination, Hurts was the reason the Eagles lost that game. I thought he actually played pretty exceptional throughout. But he was able to put 25 points up for sticky mistakes here. Aaron Jones, 25 points of his own. And thank God the Packers decided, hey, let's run the ball for once, as they just went out and beat the Cowboys in an incredible game at the 4:30 slate. Thank God they finally run the ball, gave my boy Jonesy some run. He had 140 yards and a touchdown. That was great to see. And we got to talk about it. Justin Jefferson, one of the most amazing receiver performances I think I can remember in recent memory, or honestly, maybe even ever. It was just basically throw the ball up and he's going to come down with it. It didn't matter where you put it. It was like Kelvin Johnson-esque. It was just like, just put it somewhere near him and he's going to go get it. Absolutely incredible game. One of the greatest catches that we've seen in recent memory. On that 4th and 17-ish or something, 200 yards, pretty much touchdown. Can't say enough about Justin Jefferson. Damn near 40 points here, and we're able to kind of just get enough points from everybody else. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a dud, didn't really get a lot of run in that Chiefs game as he's looking to kind of be getting phased out of the offense, but everybody else able to get just enough here to squeak out a win against Glizz Mafia. Sticky Mistakes had to be happy about this one. They needed a win badly.
Yeah, and flip side, Glizz Mafia, they really had to be disappointed coming on the end of this one. They really only had 3 players show up. Trevor Lawrence with 27. He's finally starting to look like an actual NFL quarterback now that Urban Meyer is out of Jacksonville. We know we all have some select nicknames for that man. We're gonna keep them to ourselves for right now. Josh Jacobs, 23 and a tud. He had a solid day. CeeDee Lamb, he had a big day himself, matching Jefferson's energy, at least fantasy-wise. 2 touchdowns and 38 points for him. But the rest of this defense, the rest of this team would just not do enough to cover the deficit. A.J. Brown only 1.7 as the last effort with Sanders and the Eagles, as we talked about. And they had no other skilled players besides those 3 get over 7. They would this is their second straight loss after they fought hard to get back to 500. They decided not to make any moves at the deadline, and now it seems like they're going to have an uphill battle to get out of the toilet bowl, but we'll see what happens with this team as they end their season here. All right. Our 4th matchup of the week, we had Wallace Pluto coming in and handing their 6th straight loss to the Philly Cheekles, 147-119. Wallace Pluto, really, they were going for the swipe reward this week. We really wanted to see him get it so that every team would have exactly one. But unfortunately, they would not do so. They had 4 players getting over 20 points. Dak starting to look a little bit better since he's come back, 22. James Conner, 23. Saquon, 25 on 150 yards rushing. Very impressive day out of him. And then Pittsburgh Steelers, we ragged this team for their defenses, but they came in and got a defensive 1 performance on the week, 22 points out of the Steelers. And then the big thing was that out of their skill position, Thielen was a low of 9. When you do that, you make it hard to be beat. And they did this week. They improved to 5-5 as their dedication and mediocrity is astounding. It would seem that a loss to do for them this week, but they'll celebrate the win they got this week.
And for the Philly Cheekles, 6th straight loss. I feel like during this stretch, we come on here and it's just like, okay, there's definitely some things to take away, some positives from this team that you can build on moving forward. It just seems like those positives can't be put together in the same week. But to that point exactly, we do want to shout out return of Jonathan Taylor, JT. Jeff Saturday comes in, no coaching experience. And what does he do? I'm going to give the ball to my best player. That doesn't seem that difficult. Gave JT 22 carries, 150 yards, touchdown, as he looked just like he did in week 1. It was the best performance he put together, first 100-yard rushing day since week 1. And it was just great to see that. And for the Colts offense, and just the Colts in general, just to kind of rally around Jeff Saturday and get a big win against the Las Vegas Raiders. So shout out Jonathan Taylor for the return of the JT game. D-Hop, again, he's been incredible since he came back from his suspension. Another 10 catches, pretty much 100 yards. As again, he was leading the Arizona Cardinals receiving attack. He's been kind of a huge point of consistency for the Philly Cheekles here. Giants D had a solid 20 points. as they were able to match the Steelers 20 that Wallace Pluto gave them. But I mean, outside of those three, it just really wasn't a lot else on this team. And again, when those things happen, when you can only get a couple good performances every once in a while, it's just those things just don't formulate together, especially when you're going up against a team that puts together a pretty solid week. So, Philly Cheekles, again, you got some things to build on, but we just need to work on putting it all together for a week here to try to stop this skid.
All right, and that will bring us to our fifth and final matchup of the week. We had the Cleveland Steamers improving to 8-2. They remain in first place with a big 152-97 victory over the Francy Feast. Nick, tell us how your boys got it done this week.
Before we talk about our team, we do want to just address Francy Feast here for a second. They had a lot of injuries that happened this week. And we never like to see that. Seeing Dallas Goedert go out with a shoulder injury sounds like it's going to be a couple weeks. Juju Smith-Schuster on a completely unnecessary hit from, I believe it was Andre Cisco, putting him out with a concussion. I hope he can be back this week. He doesn't have to miss another game for concussion, but with the NFL this year, that doesn't seem rather likely. And Jerry Jeudy, it just seems like the last couple of years, every single time this he starts getting on a roll, just injury bug just pops up. So we do wanted to address that. They had to deal with a lot this week, and we do hope for the best for them moving forward. Healthy, speedy recovery for all their players as they try to get into the home stretch here of the season. So we wanted to point that out first because we noticed that this week, and we know how hard injuries can be on teams here in this league. So getting back to our team here, we always got to start it out with Mahomes, absolute stud. Team captain, we love this guy. He comes out and performs every single week. Another damn near 40-point performance. He was incredible again. The Chubster, only 13 points, doesn't look great on paper, was able to rip off a long touchdown run. Again, Cleveland, he only has 11 carries. You're undefeated this year if you give Nick Chubb 20 carries. You have not won a game without, okay? Just be a little smarter, okay? Just come on, run the damn ball. Done with that. Now let's get to some of our 20-point boys here in the middle of our lineup. Tony Pollard was incredible again, filling in for Zeke. 115 yards, touchdown, 22 points. Stephon Diggs, newly acquired Stephon Diggs. We said we wanted to go out and get a guy that can give us around 20 points a game from the receiver position. Stephon Diggs comes in week 1, does exactly that. He was incredible in that game. That Minnesota-Buffalo game, that was incredible. And we got it. We got a sighting, man, is that Terry, scary Terry. On Monday Night Football, I've been saying this man is so talented. He's such a great player, such a great leader. We finally got to see it all come together on Sunday Night Football. This is my bid or nomination. Taylor Heineke, starting quarterback of the Commanders for the rest of the season. If Carson Wentz is named the starter next week, I will protest. And yeah, the rest of the team played pretty good this week. 49ers defense looked really good in the second half on Sunday Night Football after, having not the greatest first half, really buttoned up the hatches in the second half. And, team played great this week. We loved the performance. We loved the addition that Stephon Diggs gave us. And, we got a lot to build on here moving forward. And yeah, just really happy with the performance.
All right, on the flip side here for Francy Feast, they had been red hot coming into this one, but they would fall in dramatic fashion, only getting a double-digit score. They would not get the Lamp Award this week, but I'm sure they're not taking any pride in that. They were disappointed with the outcome of this one. Jacoby Brissett would be an emergency one-day contract as both of Matt's quarterbacks were ruled out in the morning before kickoff, but he would come in and fill in nicely with 22 of his own. Mostert would add 18 with a touchdown. He also looked pretty good, only 8 carries too, so pretty efficient for what workload he was given. For the rest of the team, just not coming through. All the rest of the skill position players in single digits. The 3 injuries we mentioned come at a horrible time for this team. Hopefully none of those players will be out for too long. But definitely the depth of this team is going to be tested as we end the regular season here and they make a push for the playoffs. But it will be time to see if Francy Feast has established a new culture and if the next man up will come true. and if they will be able to notch some wins and find themselves on the right side of the playoff line come season's end. All right. And with that, we take a look ahead to week 11 schedule and the standings before we get off here. First up next week, we got Pams. They're without Cup, and they're on a 3-game skid. They desperately need to find a way to win against Texas has 10-4s to keep their division hopes alive. Second matchup, we got Wallace Pluto taking on Cleveland Steamers. Logic would say that Wallace Pluto will lose this one and stay in the mediocrity bowl, but Nick, how are you gonna make sure that that actually happens?
We're gonna have to create our own luck this week again. Got to come ready to play. Making sure everybody's good to go this week, and yeah, we're not going to rely on just Wallace Pluto won last week. They're going to lose this week. We got to create our own luck and come prepared.
All right, third matchup. FaZe Cav, they're looking to stay in a highly contested South Division race. They're taking on Philly Cheekles, looking to find any way to get a win. However, this might be a good week for them to do it, as FaZe Cav currently has 0 tight ends on their roster who are eligible to play. So it'll be interesting to see how they find a replacement there. Fourth matchup, Francy Feast, they desperately need a comeback win after last week. There's normally not a better team this season to do it against than Sticky Mistakes, but they were able to get a win this week. We'll see if they're able to prove it that 2 in a row. And then our last matchup, we got Glizz Mafia against PC Principal. Both teams trying to get out of the toilet bowl. Whoever loses this one, it might be a done deal for them, but we will see.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking in that matchup.
I feel like you might be right. Anyways, taking a look at the standings here, we only got 3 games left to go. Cleveland Steamers, they currently hold the points tiebreaker over FaZe Cav with a 1-1 head-to-head record. Both teams at 82 in the South Division. And then we got Wallace Pluto and Francy Feast. They're both in the consolation match at the moment due to tiebreaker on points lost to Lump. Philly Cheekles sitting at the bottom of the league currently at 2-8. And then in the North Division, Texas has 10-4s. We take a 1-game lead this week over Pams, who does sit in the wild card currently with the points. And then Glizz Mafia and PC Principal currently tied for the 7th seed in the Toilet Bowl. PC Principal does have the 1 win over Glizz Mafia, giving the tiebreaker. And then Sticky Mistakes, despite the win, still in 9th after this week at 3-7. We ran a little long this week, but hopefully we were able to keep you boys entertained. Nick, any final thoughts before we get off here?
Not football related, but Spartan Dogs, baby. Huge win over Kentucky tonight. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, very big win. Very happy to see that after the disappointing loss to Gonzaga on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully we have another entertaining weekend of fantasy this week. And yeah, best of luck to all. Peace.